Hi, I'm Lindsay Schlossberg, and today I'm going to talk to you about gender differences when it comes to dating and communication. So the reason why I love studying love, attachment, dating, communication, and gender is because it's a universal concept that everyone deals with. It's so bonding to think that every single person in the world has either felt love or is looking for love. So one of my idols is Dr. Helen Fisher. She is a cultural anthropologist and one of the leading experts in this field of love. She studied 58 societies across the world and found some common differences and common themes between genders all across the world. She found that there's actually a difference in the way that men and women communicate. So men tend to be more linear thinkers, and women look for validation and intimacy when expressing concerns. This is really important to understand because when you understand the motive behind expressing concerns, you can sort of work as a team to figure out a good problem-solving skills. So men and women, like I said, have different communication based on their differences, and Dr. Helen Fisher actually points out that women, their verbal abilities form earlier in childhood than men. So infant girls will actually start to babble earlier than infant boys. And she also points out that women's way with words actually gets better in the middle of their menstrual cycle when estrogen, which is the female hormone, is at its peak, which is really interesting and something to think about. So other studies have found that women are more verbally oriented, whereas men obviously express their affection through activities with their partner. So sometimes you hear about the stereotypes where the woman will want to go like have a conversation or whatever, and then guys tend to be more wanting to go out and do things, go on a hike. And although both are good for dates or to build relationships, it's good to have an understanding of where that comes from. So this is interesting. Young girls are more likely to establish relationships with friends through self-disclosure, whereas boys express friendship through shared activity. So Dr. Fisher found that women integrate more details more quickly when making decisions because they do start earlier. And they weigh more variables, consider more options, and can see a more holistic view of the problem. So, like I said, women tend to look at factors in the bigger picture, whereas men tend to focus their attention to one thing at a time. They compartmentalize relevant information, and they tend to discard any information that doesn't make sense in the current issue. And as you can imagine, this also leads to the stereotype of women like to talk about all these different issues, whereas men just sort of want to get to the point. But there's actually a difference based on gender that goes behind this, so it's kind of interesting. So women, as we know, emphasize feelings, whereas men emphasize sexual activity. This is stereotyped across our culture all the time, but men and women actually seek out sex for different reasons. Men may be more prone to enjoy sex for the physical activity, whereas women sometimes enjoy sex and engage in sexual activity for the basis of creating an emotional, intimate connection. So this continues the stereotypes of men being the initiators of sexual activity and women being the gatekeepers. Granted, stereotypes are bad, right? No one ever wants to be stereotyped, but it's interesting to see where these come from and how they're actually backed by research, and they're just blown out of proportion in our society. So the communication aspect of this video can be really important regardless of your sexual orientation. At some point or another, you're going to come across someone from a different sex than yourself, and it's good to know what sort of communication styles they're coming from so that you can better understand each other. This works for aspects beyond dating and can work in the business world, even when you're getting your cup of coffee. So I hope you had a great day, and thank you so much for listening. Look forward to the next video. Thanks.